Okay.
What ought they to do
So,
as a parent?
sure. I mean, as a parent, you want to engage your children, right? So if they have certain inclinations, whether it is towards homosexuality or whether it is to bestiality or anything else that you as a Muslim parent don't find accepting, it is your responsibility to have that communication with your child. You may tell your child that, look, there are things that you may feel that you shouldn't act upon because that acting upon is not acceptable to your moral code. And that is a relationship between a parent and a child that you should develop from a childhood, that your child should be comfortable enough to come to you and say, hey, you know what, I feel like beating up this next door neighbor, and you tell them, you may have those feelings, but you have to control those feelings, you have to deal with them, because to act out that action is not acceptable to you.
So, since here in the States it's not legal to arrest somebody.
Sure. And I didn't suggest that they should be.
Right. So, how would one be supposed to treat the situation?
Through communication, right?
You know how it
Sure.
said that they're not supposed to be gay.
Right.
I know it's a Quran page to arrest them.
No. And that's why I said, I'm not saying that somebody has to be arrested for it. There are punishments for different crimes in Islam, but let's talk about, let me give you another example to make sense here. For example, drinking alcohol is forbidden in Islam. But in the United States, if you're over the age of 21, it's 18 or 21 still. All right, somehow when you turn 21, it's okay. So, and when you're 20 and a half, you still are not mature enough. So here you're allowed to drink. So let's say a Muslim parent finds their child drinking alcohol. Well, you're going to have the same communication. It doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get them arrested or cut off their hands or something like this. But you need to have that relationship with your child that you can say, look, I understand that your friends are drinking. I understand that you may want to go and party and go to San Diego State and get drunk. But this is not acceptable in our moral code. And your only option is that communication. That's all you have in this country or anywhere else in the world, because very few, except Texas had a sodomy law, but very few countries even in the world, some countries in Africa currently, will really go and find somebody who's gay and arrest them, right? Meaning even if you go to Saudi Arabia or those countries, that's not really the way you deal with the problem. Any of those kind of things, whether it's alcoholism or homosexuality or anything else that's not acceptable to you, even if you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or whatever, your only tool is communication. That's what you have. Right? Or you can show them those 50s videos. No, I'm just kidding. And I mean, like I said, people have different inclinations. We don't deny that. Somebody may be attracted to children, but we may find that offensive, right? Somebody may say, why? It's my choice. I'm attracted to children. And we may say as a society, I'll get to you in just a second. Let me just finish. I don't want you to get your hand tired. Trust me, anybody has questions, I'll stay all night. We're going to get through this. So, if we look at attractions to animals, for example, or attraction to other things, we as society make those judgments. Meaning in the 40s and 50s and 60s and maybe, 70s, in America, it was not okay. And then a time came that we as a society decided that it is okay for men to marry men or women to marry women. And that's something we as a community or as a country make laws and legislate for. As religious laws go, if we go to the religious traditions of almost every religion that I have studied, and I've not studied all of them, you will not find acceptance for homosexuality. Not in the Hindu traditions, not in the Old Testament, not in the New Testament. Now, some Christian preachers or Jewish rabbis or maybe even imams may change their stance, and that's their personal view. But in the religious traditions of all religions, you will find that this is not an acceptable practice. Right? Now, if you look at a lot of the ideas that are natural human methods, meaning, let me give you an example. Any species, right, whether they're an animal, what is one of the core responsibilities of that species is to further the species. Right? They want to have more, whether they're ducklings or children or spawn, to continue that going. Unless we get into a lot of scientific test tube methods, if the whole world went towards an homosexual attitude, how would that happen for humanity? You see? I'm not saying that people don't have certain different feelings. People do. But to act on those feelings is where laws and religion and things come into practice. I may have a bad temper. I may be genetically born with a bad temper, and I probably am. But I cannot act upon it. If I act out that act of violence, then I'll be arrested for it. Right? That is the laws of society. Somebody may be attracted to animals. That may be a part of their personality. But if they act that out so far in our country, they'll be arrested for it unless you're in Arkansas or something.